So this question is a translate word problem question. Given the fact that all the answer choices are graphs, this might also end up being a graph question, right? Which is a subsection of the diagram strategy that I teach. So let's first of all deal with it as a translate word problem. So the first sentence here says, in Chicago in 1895, Frank Duryea won America's first automobile race by driving 52.4 miles in 10 hours and 23 minutes. So the strategy TWP tells me that if I see quantitative information, I should write it down. So 52.4 miles in, which I just use an arrow, 10 hours, 23 minutes. The next sentence says, if he drove at a constant rate, the approximate distance he drove, y, in miles during the race could be modeled by, some more quantitative info, y equals 5x, where x is the time in hours after the start of the race. Which graph best represents this relationship? Okay, so there's a couple of things that I can use. First of all, I was just told that the mileage is representative by y and that the time is represented by x. I'm also given this equation here, which reminds me of y equals mx plus b, in which case this means that m must equal 5, m represents the slope, and b must equal 0. So I'm going to use all of this to kind of narrow down the answer. I'm going to start off with this b equals 0 thing, because b represents the y-intercept. So which one of these graphs has a y-intercept at 0? A does, so that's good. B does not, right? So that's gone, right? This y-intercept is not at 0. C does not, so C is gone. D does, right? So immediately I get down to 50-50. All right, now I'm going to move up and say, okay, which one of these two graphs between A and D has a slope of 5, right? So looking at my graph, I can't really easily at least see 5, right? So slope of 5 just means up 5 to the right once. But because the units here are by tens, I'm going to just double that and say, okay, my slope is really the same as up 10 over 2, right? Because it's the same thing. 5 over 1 is equal to 10 over 2. So the graph for choice A does go up 10 and over 2, so that looks very good. The graph for choice D goes up 10 and not over 2. That looks like it's over 1, actually. So then D does not pass the slope test, I could call it, and therefore choice A must be the correct answer. Another thing that I could do is just use this information here and say, well, the question told me that when y is 52.4, which I'm going to assume is around there, then x must be 10 hours and 23 minutes, which I'm assuming is about here, and this is true, right? Whereas on choice D, that would not be true, right? A little bit above 50 corresponds more so with close to 6 hours, a little bit under 6 hours. So again, more evidence that choice A is the best answer here.